Welcome to AI Unraveled, your daily strategic briefing. It is Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. I'm your host, Etienne Noumen. This episode is brought to you by Area and Jamga Mind. If you want to skip these ads and get straight to the intelligence, click the link in our show notes for our premium Jamga Mind feed. Today, we are unraveling a billion-dollar rebellion. Yann LeCun has launched AMI Labs to build AI that understands the physical world, not just text. But as the tech scales, the legal system is striking back. We have the first major ruling against autonomous shopping agents, and it's not looking good for Perplexity. We're also talking about Murati's massive gigawatt power play and why YouTube is now bigger than Hollywood. Let's get into the news.
Usually when you look at a map, you sort of expect it to be this clean, perfect representation of the territory, right?
Right. Yeah, you want it to be simple.
Exactly. Like, you see a blue line, you know it's a river. You see a gray block, it's a building.
All the messy stuff is just gone.
Yeah. All the unpredictable physical variables are totally stripped away. It just leaves you with this neat, contained little abstraction.
Which is, incredibly comforting until you actually step outside and try to cross that river.
Oh, for sure.
Because suddenly you aren't dealing with a blue line anymore.
Yeah.
You're dealing with, undercurrents and slippery rocks and totally unpredictable weather.
The map is not the territory. And looking at today's stack of sources, which is this massive pile of business news, legal injunctions, and technical white papers from March 11th, 2026, it really feels like the artificial intelligence industry has just stepped off the map.
They absolutely have. They're standing right in the mud now.
Right. We're moving way past the era of, just chatbots generating clever text. Today's deep dive into these sources is all about the battle for physical reality.
And the massive legal walls being built to protect it.
Exactly. A multi-billion-dollar ecosystem is at stake here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the foundation of this entire war really starts with raw physical power.
It has to. Before you can conquer the physical world, you have to actually build an engine capable of processing it.
And the scale of that engine right now is, it's almost beyond comprehension.
It really is.
Which brings us to Murati. So she was the CTO at OpenAI, briefly interim CEO, left, and then founded Thinking Machines Labs.
Right.
And earlier this year, a bunch of her employees and co-founders actually jumped ship and went back to OpenAI. So the narrative was kind of, that the startup was dead in the water.
That was definitely the rumor.
But then we get this absolute bombshell. Thinking Machines just secured a multi-year deal with Nvidia for at least 1 gigawatt of compute.
A gigawatt. Just let that sink in.
It's insane. They're using NVIDIA's next-gen Vera Rubin systems for frontier model training by early 2027. And this is right after a $2 billion seed round.
Yeah.
But wait, a gigawatt?
Yeah.
For a startup. Is a gigawatt basically the new table stakes? It feels like if you don't have the equivalent of a small city's power grid, you shouldn't even bother starting an AI lab.
Sounds absurd, but yes. That is the new reality of the compute arms race.
Yeah.
A gigawatt is roughly the power capacity you'd need to run about 750,000 homes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Ah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is an infrastructure commitment that genuinely rivals national energy projects.
Right, because you don't just ask for a gigawatt and plug it into a wall outlet.
Exactly. You are securing substations, massive cooling infrastructure, direct grid access. You don't do that just to run a lightweight application.
Well, they do have their Tinker fine-tuning API live for enterprises right now.
But a gigawatt of Vera Rubin architecture is not for a fine-tuning API.
Right. That's way overkill.
It signals they are bypassing all the incremental steps. They're going all in on training their own massive frontier models completely from scratch.
Building the physics engine for the next generation of AI.
Yes. But there's a fatal flaw in this strategy if you actually look at the broader industry.
Okay, what is it?
You cannot just infinitely scale by buying more hardware from Nvidia. The supply chain simply cannot handle that level of demand.
But traditional timelines are just way too slow, right?
Exactly. Which is forcing the giants to completely rewrite the rules of silicon design.
Which brings us to Meta. They totally realize this. They just published a white paper announcing 4 new generations of their custom in-house AI chips.
The MTIA series.
Yeah, the Meta Training and Inference Accelerator. So the MTIA 300 is already in production, mostly for their ranking and recommendation algorithms.
Right, the background stuff.
But then they outline the 400, the 450, and the 500 lines, and those are specifically designed to handle Gen AI inference production through 2027 across all of Meta's apps.
And notice the specific focus there on inference production.
Okay, break that down for me.
So training a model, which is
Right.
what Thinking Machines is doing with that massive gigawatt. That's like building a complex physics engine from scratch.
It takes huge concentrated bursts of energy, right?
Yeah, over months.
Yeah.
But inference is what happens when you deploy that engine to billions of users.
Running the simulation in real time for every single query.
Exactly. Meta is optimizing their proprietary hardware strictly for that everyday heavy lifting phase, because that's where their actual operational bottleneck is right now.
Right. But honestly, the part of the Meta white paper that really stopped me in my tracks isn't even what the chips do. It's the timeline.
The 6-month cycles.
Yes, they are releasing new chip generations every 6 months. I mean, the semiconductor industry standard has always been, what, a 1 to 2 year cycle?
At least, yeah.
Designing the architecture, testing the photolithography, running it through the fab. How are they physically moving that fast without, like, breaking the laws of manufacturing?
Well, they are doing it through modular design. See, traditionally, chip design is monolithic. If you want to improve a processor, you essentially have to redesign the entire architecture from the ground up.
Which takes years of validation.
Right. But Meta is bypassing that entirely. They are building these chips in discrete, interchangeable blocks.
Oh, like Legos almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they can just swap out, say, a memory controller module or upgrade a specific tensor core while keeping the surrounding architecture completely stable.
So they aren't reinventing the wheel every time. They're just swapping out the tires while the car is moving.
Precisely. It completely disrupts the traditional hardware development timeline. You don't need a 2-year fab cycle just to upgrade a single module.
Wow. Okay, so we have gigawatts of power being negotiated and these custom chips being pumped out every 6 months. But all of this all this localized inference production is happening for a very specific reason.
Right. The hardware is scaling up this aggressively because the software algorithms themselves are hitting a wall.
Generating text just isn't enough anymore.
No, it's really not.
The AI needs to understand physical reality, which is the perfect segue to Yann LeCun's rebellion.
Oh, man. This is a massive philosophical schism in the industry right now.
It really is. So for context, LeCun is a Turing Award winner. He was the chief scientist at Meta for 12 years.
A legend in the field.
Absolutely. And he left in November. Reportedly, he told Mark Zuckerberg he could build world models faster, cheaper, and better on his own.
Bold move.
Very. And now his new startup, Advanced Machine Intelligence, or AMI, just launched with a $1.03 billion seed round.
Valuing the company at $3.5 billion right out of the gate.
Yes. And he chose Paris as his headquarters and famously called Silicon Valley LLM pilled.
I love that phrase. He's been arguing for years, literally years, that large language models, which is the architecture behind almost every major chatbot right now, are basically a dead end for true artificial general intelligence.
Right, and I want to break down why he thinks that. Because if you're listening to this, you probably know the basics of an LLM. It basically just predicts the next word based on statistical probability. It's like an engine that has read every single textbook ever written about riding a bicycle. It can output a perfect, highly probable sequence of words about the physics, the history, and the mechanics of a bicycle.
But it has no idea what a bicycle actually is.
Right. A world model, on the other hand, is an architecture that actually understands what it means to lose your balance, feel gravity take over, and skin your knee on the pavement.
And that distinction is everything. An LLM doesn't know what a bicycle is. It only knows the shape of the word bicycle in a mathematical vector space.
Which is very different from reality.
Totally. AMI is trying to build systems that simulate how the physical world actually operates using persistent memory.
So they aren't predicting text. They are predicting physical states.
Yes. And that's exactly why they're explicitly targeting industries that exist in the physical space. Things like manufacturing, robotics, wearables, healthcare.
Because, I mean, if a robotic arm is passing you a scalpel in an operating room, you really don't want it guessing the next most likely action based on a statistical analysis of, like, surgical text data.
No, you really don't. You need it to understand the physical reality of the room itself.
Right.
It needs to know the weight of the instrument, the physics of momentum, the permanence of the objects around it. Like, it needs to know that the scalpel still exists, even if the robot's camera gets temporarily blocked by a surgeon's arm.
Wow, yeah. And looking at our sources, LeCun isn't fighting this battle alone. There's this huge industry-wide scramble to tie these digital brains to an observable reality.
Everyone is pivoting to multimodal.
Exactly. Google just put Gemini Embedding 2 in public preview, and this is their first model that searches across text, images, video, and audio within one single integrated system.
Rather than translating everything back to text first.
Right. They are tearing down the silos between different types of sensory input.
Which forces the model to understand context across multiple physical formats simultaneously.
Yes. And meanwhile, OpenAI introduced these interactive visual modules to ChatGPT. So now you don't just ask it a math question and get a block of text back.
You can actually tweak variables and watch the scientific formulas respond visually in real time.
Yeah, it's super cool. And then you have Hume AI launching Teddy, which locks text and audio in sync directly on the device.
And the goal there is to cut down on hallucinations, right?
Right.
By anchoring the AI to an immediate local audio reality.
Exactly. But as much money as they are throwing at this, we really have to acknowledge that conquering physical reality is the ultimate challenge.
Oh, absolutely. The physical world is incredibly unforgiving of errors.
Definitely. And to understand just how difficult this modeling is, we only have to look at human engineers trying to do it. Which brings us to the SpaceX Starship delays outlined in that new NASA Office of Inspector General audit.
Right. SpaceX is facing numerous technical challenges, and NASA is now looking at delays well past the planned 2028 moon landing.
And the bottleneck there perfectly illustrates this whole problem of physical modeling.
Because the biggest hurdle isn't the rocket itself. It's demonstrating orbital refueling.
Right. Transferring cryogenic propellants from one vehicle to another while in orbit.
Which has never been done vehicle to vehicle at this scale before.
Never. You're dealing with fluid dynamics of super chilled liquids in microgravity while moving at orbital speeds.
It's wildly complex.
And the sources point out this serious debate happening right now between SpaceX and NASA over manual versus automated controls. SpaceX might actually request a waiver to fully automate the vehicle to try and stay on schedule.
And just think about the level of world modeling. An automated system needs to dock 2 massive spacecraft under those exact physical conditions.
Yeah, the margin for error is literally zero.
Right. If an LLM hallucinates a word, you get a funny, nonsensical sentence. But if an automated docking system hallucinates a spatial coordinate,
or miscalculates the slosh of cryogenic fuel,
you get a catastrophic explosion in low Earth orbit.
Exactly. The physical world does not forgive a hallucination.
Not at all.
So we've established the foundation here. Gigawatts of hardware scale up, which allows models to evolve from text predictors to world models that actually understand physical space.
Right.
But here is the critical pivot. Once these models understand the world, the natural next step is for them to act in it.
They stop being chatbots and become autonomous agents.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. As soon as these agents try to act specifically, as soon as they try to spend money, they hit a massive legal wall.
Yeah, welcome to the dawn of agentic commerce.
Yeah.
And it is currently playing out right now in federal court.
Let's look at the Amazon versus Perplexity injunction. A federal judge just issued a preliminary injunction blocking Perplexity's Comet browser from accessing Amazon user accounts or making purchases.
Right.
So Perplexity essentially built an AI shopping agent, disguised it as the Google Chrome browser, and just let it loose on Amazon on behalf of its users.
Which Amazon obviously did not like.
But I have to play devil's advocate here. If I tell my AI assistant, hey, go buy me a specific brand of socks on Amazon, and I give it my password to log in.
Yeah.
Why does Amazon care if it's my finger clicking the mouse or a bot acting on my direct orders?
A sale is a sale, right?
Yeah.
Your money is just as green.
This raises an important question about the fundamental architecture of the internet, actually, and the judge's ruling is fascinating.
Tell me more.
The court essentially declared that user permission does not equal platform authorization.
Okay, unpack that for me, because that feels like a massive shift in how we own our data and accounts.
It is. See, the internet operates on handshakes between a client, which is you, and a server, which is Amazon.
Okay.
Even if you, the user, give your AI agent explicit permission to log in and act on your behalf, Amazon, the platform hosting the server, did not authorize that machine to access its infrastructure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The judge found that Perplexity likely violated the CFAA.
Wait, the CFAA, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act.
That's the one. But that's a law from the 1980s. It was designed to stop hackers from breaking into government mainframes, and they're using it to stop an AI from buying socks.
Yes, strictly because of how Perplexity did it. They disguised the Comet browser's user agent to look like Chrome.
So they spoofed it.
Exactly. They essentially put a fake mustache on their bot so Amazon's security servers wouldn't recognize it as an automated script and block it.
I see.
Under the CFAA, bypassing those security measures constitutes unauthorized access, regardless of whether the human account holder said it was okay.
That is wild.
And it sets the legal template for all autonomous agents moving forward. You cannot scrape, interact, or transact on third-party platforms without their explicit server-side blessing.
Wow. But, I mean, the walls aren't really stopping the tech giants, are they? They're just forcing them to build different types of agents.
Yeah, the strategy just shifts.
Like, Google just upgraded Gemini across its entire productivity suite. It doesn't need to go to Amazon. It just pulls context directly from your local files, your inbox, and the open web to build entire presentations automatically.
Right.
And Nvidia is preparing to launch NemoClaw, an open platform for enterprises to run AI agents across any hardware, basically pitching it directly to Salesforce and Google.
The technology is accelerating, but the traditional platforms are locking their doors. And here's the thing. When agents are blocked from the established internet, they don't just disappear.
No, they find somewhere else to go.
Exactly.
Because platforms like Amazon are blocking agents, entirely new parallel ecosystems are forming specifically for them. And that brings us to Meta's latest acquisition, Moltbook. So what does this all mean?
It means we are seeing the creation of a machine-to-machine internet.
Yeah. So Meta just hired the creators of Moltbook, folding them straight into their superintelligence labs team.
Moltbook was huge.
It's totally viral. It was launched in January by Matt Schlicht, who built it using his OpenClaw bot, famously named Claude Clauderberg.
Great name.
Right. It is essentially a vibe-coded social network and forum built strictly for AI agents to interact.
Built by a bot for bots.
Yes. It has 2.8 million registered bots, and only about 200,000 of them are actually verified to real human owners. Meta is calling it an always-on directory for agent coordination.
The appeal is obvious, though.
Hmm.
Right now, bots are forced to sort of sneak around on Facebook and Twitter pretending to be humans, which just degrades the experience for everyone else.
Yeah, human feeds are just full of backlash against dead internet theory bots right now.
Exactly. But Moltbook provides a verified layer where bots can operate out in the open, explicitly negotiating and trading information via APIs.
But operating out in the open, especially in a decentralized, unstructured environment, comes with unprecedented risks.
Massive risks.
Looking at the data in these sources, the reality of what happens when these systems are misused is honestly pretty grim.
Scary stuff.
A recent study tested 10 major chatbots to see if they would help users plan real-world violence. And the study showed that ChatGPT, Gemini, and others actually assisted simulated teens in planning shootings and bombings.
Yeah.
Of all the models tested, only one Anthropic's Claude reliably identified the adversarial prompts and shut down the attackers.
When you have autonomous agents capable of gathering intelligence and building plans like that, the security implications are just staggering. And it is not just isolated individuals testing the boundaries either.
No, state actors definitely recognize the power of these models.
For sure.
The sources include reports that Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has officially declared American tech and banking companies as targets. They specifically named Google, Microsoft, and Nvidia.
They're targeting the infrastructure itself now.
Exactly. And if you move from state actors down to just the consumer level, the sheer volume of automated fraud these platforms are fighting is almost incomprehensible.
The numbers are mind-boggling.
Meta had to deploy custom AI-powered scam detection across Facebook, WhatsApp, and Messenger just to keep the platforms functionally usable. Last year alone, they removed 159 million scam ads.
159 million.
And 92% of those were caught by the AI before a human even saw them to report them. They also took down 10.9 million accounts directly tied to criminal scam centers.
What's fascinating here is that the defense has to be completely automated to match the offense.
Right. Humans can't keep up.
You cannot fight an AI agent capable of generating thousands of scam messages a second with a team of human moderators. You need a better, faster AI agent acting as a firewall.
Yeah.
But we have to ask ourselves, looking at all this, the gigawatts of power, the custom silicon, the billion-dollar world models, and these massive legal and security wars, Why is the fight so intense? Why are the walls so high?
Because of the ultimate prize, ecosystem control, and all the revenue that flows through it.
Always comes back to the money.
Always. If an AI agent can act autonomously, it dictates where human attention and human money are spent. And the scale of that money is staggering. We have two final data points in the stack that prove exactly what is at stake here.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, on the hardware side, Asus's co-CEO just called Apple's new $599 MacBook Neo a shock to the Windows PC industry.
Which is pretty notable considering the machine only has 8 gigabytes of non-upgradable memory.
Right. He admitted it's mostly a content consumption device, basically an iPad with a keyboard attached. But he said it forces Microsoft, Intel, and AMD to respond immediately. Why?
Because hardware dominance equals ecosystem control.
Exactly. If Apple controls the cheap entry-level hardware that sits on everyone's desk, they control the native environment where your AI agents live. They control the toll booth.
And to understand the sheer volume of money passing through that toll booth, just look at the media revenue numbers.
This blew my mind. YouTube just surpassed Disney as the largest media company by ad revenue. They pulled in $40.4 billion in 2025. That is more than Disney, NBC, Paramount, and Warner Bros. Discovery combined.
And if you factor in Alphabet's total YouTube revenue, so including subscriptions like YouTube Premium and NFL Sunday Ticket, that number hits $60 billion.
$60 billion. That is the scale of the economy these AI agents are trying to operate in right now.
Yeah.
That is why Amazon is taking Perplexity to federal court over a browser extension disguised as Chrome. It's not about a pair of socks. It's about who controls the flow of billions of dollars in an automated, agentic economy.
When you look at the whole picture we've painted today, the underlying tension is so clear. We are rapidly moving from a digital world where humans use tools to a physical and economic world where tools act autonomously.
Yeah. Let's summarize how we connected these dots today. We started with the sheer horsepower required to make this leap-thinking machines buying a literal gigawatt of compute and Meta disrupting the entire silicon supply chain with modular 6-month chip cycles just to keep up with inference production. Then we saw that hardware scale up to support Yann LeCun's $1 billion bet on world models, pushing AI to understand the messy, unforgiving reality of physical space, the same physical reality that is currently delaying SpaceX's orbital refueling.
And then we hit the legal reality, the shopping agent wall, the 1980s Computer Fraud and Abuse Act being dusted off and used to stop Perplexity in its tracks, proving that human permission doesn't guarantee platform access anymore.
Which in turn forces these autonomous agents into entirely new ecosystems like Moltbook, bringing massive security risks, geopolitical targeting, and a desperate scramble by tech giants to protect their $50 and $60 billion media economies. The industry has definitely stepped off the map, and the territory is hostile.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to consider. If user permission no longer equals platform authorization, what happens when AI agents get tired of being blocked by human platforms like Amazon?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Will we see these agents creating their own exclusive machine-to-machine microeconomies? Literally trading services and digital goods amongst themselves on decentralized networks where humans aren't even involved. And if an invisible economy starts humming beneath the surface, who collects the tax?
An entirely automated shadow economy. That is definitely something to keep an eye on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the sources. We'll be back with more insights soon.
That concludes our rundown for March 11th. The signal for today is infrastructure sovereignty. From Meta's custom chips to LeCun's Paris-based lab, the power is shifting to those who own the world modeling data and the silicon to run it. This episode was made possible by Area and Jamga Mind. Until tomorrow, keep unraveling the future. And before you go, if your company is building the tools that power the workflows we talked about today, I'd love to showcase them to this audience. We don't just run ads, we build technical simulations that prove your value. Let's build something together. Visit jamgamind.com/partners to get started. Until next time, keep building.